Welcome, Senator Schumer. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I want to thank you and my colleagues on the Senate Judiciary Committee. It's always a pleasure to be back here, where I served many happy years. In fact, if you add up my time on the House Judiciary Committee and the Senate Judiciary Committee, it's 1982 to 2016. It's a lot of years. So it's glad to be back. And it's particularly glad to be back for the reason I'm here today. It's my honor, my true honor, to introduce a nominee to the committee for the Second Circuit of New York, Myrna Perez, an experienced litigator, one of the foremost election lawyers in the country, whom I was so proud to recommend to President Biden. Myrna Perez's life is a quintessentially American story. The daughter of Mexican immigrants, Myrna grew up in San Antonio, not quite Brooklyn, where her dad served in the Air Force and her mom worked as a waitress and then at the post office. As she will tell you, her upbringing was steeped in the immigrant experience of many first-generation Americans. There was a constant struggle against racial, social, and language barriers as the Perez family found its place in America. In fact, when Myrna was a kid, her aunt would take her to the polls on Election Day. Even in her early years, she saw firsthand how cultural differences and Byzantine rules made it immensely difficult for Americans like her to engage in the political process, foreshadowing a career dedicated to the defense of voting rights and equal representation for all Americans. And make no mistake about it, and it was no mistake, rather, that she chose the legal profession as a means to achieve that noble goal. Myrna's family will tell you the story of how once, as a kid, she protested that her cousin tried to keep a fish he caught that was technically below the legal size for catch and keep. Remember what kind of fish it was?
It was probably a trout, right?
A trout. A trout. We have those in New York, too. It was the innate appreciation for the rule of law that propelled Myrna through Yale, Harvard, and eventually Columbia Law School, the first in her family to graduate from college. I hear these stories, and it gives me such faith in America, but such a strong desire to create greater and more equal justice in this country. We have so much potential. We are such a wonderful country. We just have to live up to it. And with a nomination like this, we are. After 2 clerkships on the federal bench, Myrna worked as a civil rights fellow in private practice before joining the Brennan Center for Justice at NYU, of course named after the great Justice Brennan. It was at the Brennan Center that Myrna established a reputation as one of the top voting rights and election lawyers in the entire country. For the last 15 years, she's been involved in election-related litigation. Everything from voter roll purges, discriminatory voter ID laws, the voting rights protecting the ballot from unlawful rejection. My colleagues, the federal bench has long been occupied by former prosecutors and corporate lawyers. While many of these people, many of whom I proudly recommended, have served admirably, it's past time that the federal bench reflect more accurately the true depth and breadth and talent that the legal profession has to offer. It's about time that civil rights attorneys, federal defenders, and voting rights experts like Myrna Perez join the ranks. Especially now, when our democracy in many ways is in peril, it's crucial that we elevate someone like Ms. Perez to the bench, someone we can trust to faithfully and equally apply the law to preserve our great democracy. But it's not only about her experience as a voting rights litigator. After all, she's going to hear all kinds of cases on the Second Circuit. What makes Ms. Perez so qualified for this job is not merely her experience, but her legal excellence. Just listen to what a few of her colleagues had to say about her. Brilliant, one fellow attorney wrote quite succinctly. A force of nature, another said. Another colleague rated her legal skills as simply, quote, off the charts. I would add one additional note to these well-deserved praises. Ms. Perez will serve as the first Latina to sit on the Second Circuit Court of Appeals since then Judge, now Justice, Sonia Sotomayor, whom I had the great honor of recommending to President Obama for a seat on the highest court. And let me just say, when I met Ms. Perez, she just knocked my socks off. Yes, she was brilliant, amazing. Yes, she had real compassion and depth of experience. And she had a scintillating personality that I'm sure will help her persuade fellow members of the Second Circuit to the righteousness of the causes that she will follow. So I can think of no one more fitting to carry on Justice Sotomayor's legacy on the Second Circuit than Myrna Perez. She's amazing. I'm so proud to nominate her. She carries my highest recommendation.
Thank you very much, Senator Schumer. We appreciate your remarks. And at this point, we're going to ask the staff to prepare for the questioning of nominees. The first panel will be Ms. Perez, who is seeking a spot on the circuit court, will be before the committee. And then the second panel will include the other nominees. So Senator Schumer is working this like a high school graduation. And he's attended many.
I've spoken over 100 of them virtually this year. Graduations.
I'm sure virtuously, too. Ms. Perez, why don't we ask